I'm gonna go through time-saving makeup tips for busy people. So if you don't really have much time and you're looking for tips which are gonna help to just speed up the process, this video is for you. This isn't about taking this entire routine and doing it from start to finish. It's really about taking the tips that work for your current routine. Or maybe there's something that you end up spending way too much time on and you're like, do you know what? This has just really sped it out for me, so I'm just gonna take that part of the video and apply that to my routine, and there you go. Voila, you have the fastest routine ever for yourself. Let's get started. I have my skincare on, I've got some primer on, and I'm gonna go straight in with the makeup. Now, the first tip that I wanna share with you is actually using something beneath your foundation that's gonna help to just give you that nice healthy glow. Because the problem is sometimes we end up rushing so much and using products that are kind of full coverage or mattifying or just generally a lot of pigment, and actually you'd wanna kind of stay away from that, because if you're in a rush, you don't have as much time to get that blending perfect. You don't have as much time to really focus on how you've applied it. So you wanna go with products that are gonna really help to give your skin that nice healthy look so that it does look good. So we're gonna be using a bronzing product. These are bronzing drops by Tarte. It's the Key Largo Glow, and this is in Bronze Glow. So what you want to do is shake this, and you're going to use this underneath the base that we're going to be doing. Now, the reason for this, I know you might be thinking that isn't this an extra step? It is, but the foundation part is going to be much quicker for you, and honestly, this is going to really give you that nice glow underneath. This isn't just for people who want like a glow. Obviously, keep watching, there's gonna be so many more tips. So I am just gonna, let me just put this straight onto my skin. This is just gonna give you that really nice kind of or bronzed look to your face, which not always just bronze, but it's just gonna make your skin look a lot more kind of like, just like a holiday, really. So see how we've just put that all over? You can put as little or as much as you want. And I know at this point it looks scary. Trust the process. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. So now that we've done that, we're gonna go in with the foundation, but we're not using foundation. This is where we're gonna use a CC cream, because this is actually gonna work way better on the skin. It's gonna give you great coverage. It's also gonna keep your skin healthy throughout the day. You don't have to worry so much about making sure like what kind of coverage am I using, because you've just got the one coverage with CC cream. And this one in particular is great. This is the IT Cosmetics CC oil-free matte full coverage cream. Don't be scared when you hear full coverage, because honestly you can still achieve a really nice natural finish with this, and I'm going to show you how. The great thing about applying this now is that I can feel that I've got hair there. I'm like trying to act normal, but it's just there. So the great thing about using this product is that you don't have to rely so much on a concealer, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So that's another tip in itself that I'm going to be showing you. You might not even need concealer with this, so all you're going to do is just put this on and you're going to be ready to go. So the shade I'm using is Tan, and I'm going to use my BK Beauty 106 brush to just buff this into the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some of this straight to the brush. It's quite a thick kind of pasty product, but it honestly blends in beautifully to the skin. So we're just gonna see a small pump is all I use there. We're just gonna kind of take this over. And the fact that I've used those bronzing drops underneath, this is just gonna help to finish off giving that really nice, just come back from vacation glow, but I haven't over tanned, if that makes sense. Because when you think of like that vacation glow, you also don't want to look like you just, you know, that you shouldn't be there wherever you are. You shouldn't be at work. So there you go. That's all we're going to be putting on with that brush. That was literally half a pump. Now with that brush, I'm going to go over my eyelids. This is just gonna avoid the need for so much concealer later. I'm gonna go on the under eye, really take this around everywhere. That's it. That literally is done there. Now that we've done that, the next step is using a concealer if you want. But what I would suggest is when you don't have much time, you want to use a concealer which is much closer to your skin tone. What happens is a lot of us like to use slightly lighter concealers, and the reason for that is because it brightens up the area. The biggest mistake you can make when you don't have time is to use that lighter shade concealer, because if you don't have time, you really don't want to be fussing around trying to make sure that that doesn't look like you have kind of, you know, the really bright under eyes or eye area and everything else looks okay on your skin, but that area just looks so white. You don't want that. So you want to go for something which is very similar to your skin tone, a lot kind of closer rather than lighter. So the concealer I'm using today is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and this is in Sand, and this is much closer to my skin tone. I'm gonna just put a little bit on my eyelids, literally the smallest dot. We're gonna take our sponge. By the way, the eyelids, no matter what look I'm doing, I would always do it in this way. There's nothing different about how I do the eyelids here. It's the only way you're going to ensure that it just doesn't crease later in the day. Now you want to get your loose setting powder. You're just going to get a big puff, press it, and then dust it off. That's it. So the eyelids are done. You don't have to worry about that. And obviously, like I said, take what you want out of this video. Now with the concealer, I do want to apply it to my under eye area, and you're going to see that this is much closer to my skin tone compared to like the concealer I usually use. Just gonna put this there. It really depends if you have time when it comes to applying it in other areas, but honestly, I wouldn't bother applying it in any other area because I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the sponge. We're gonna start buffing this in to the under eye area. And you're gonna see now my under eyes are not gonna be crazy white, how they would be if I used the much lighter concealer. They're much more closer to my skin tone. Now, whatever's left on this, we're gonna just take this around any other areas on the face that you feel you need a little bit more concealer. And that's the great thing about using a shade which is so close to your skin tone, because when you don't have time, you can take that concealer onto other areas and not worry about it looking patchy or, you know, not matching your skin tone. So let's go ahead and do the same thing here. Now, when it comes to setting, I am going to be showing you a much easier way to do this. Our base is done. I love the fact that my under eyes are not crazy bright. At least I know now that when I don't have that much time, like I know that, okay, I'm not going to worry when I go out, because I don't know if this has happened to you, but sometimes like if you don't have much time and you do your makeup and you're trying to use all those products that you usually use when you're doing your makeup, you know, when you're putting more effort into your makeup, like a slightly lighter shade concealer for the brightness to make sure that you've got that nice illuminated look. When you do that and you don't have time, what happens is after, when you're out, you are constantly worried about how rubbish your makeup looks, because I've worried about it and then I've looked at it and realized, yes, I was right, it is rubbish right now because I've just rushed it so much, but I've used all those more kind of advanced products that I think would be better used when you have more time. So personally, I feel like you should have your bunch of products which you use when you don't have time, and then you have a separate bunch of products, not all of them, but just whatever suits your routine, a separate bunch of products for when you do have the time. You know, when I have time, I want to spend that time putting the concealer in the areas to lift and everything. Right now, I don't have time, so I just want to kind of use what I know that isn't going to make me feel embarrassed later, because maybe I've put it on wrong or I've put too much on. At least if I've put a little bit too much of this concealer on, it still matches my skin tone, right? So at least I know my base is going to look right. So now that we've done that, we want to go into setting, and this is where ultimately, bottom line is, if you bake and you press the powder in, your foundation is going to last longer throughout the day. That's just how it is. But what I would suggest is to ensure that you also don't go out looking like you've just dipped your face in powder, is to bake and buff. So what that means is bake in the areas that you know you're good with, like baking in those areas you can spend a little bit, like not a little bit extra time, but it's the areas that you know that you don't want creasing later on, right? Which for me is my under eyes. Bake there, and everywhere else you're gonna buff that powder in, but we're gonna be using the same powder. We're not using a separate powder. You wanna keep it easy, right? So we're gonna be using the powder puff, which is the MERCIER one. We're using our Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Banana Bread. You can get whatever shade is best for you. I'm gonna dip this powder puff into this powder and just make sure I'm tapping off, just like that, the excess product. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make sure there's no creases in my under eyes very quickly. You don't even look in the mirror for this. You can just pat it there. Then press. Honestly, that easy. Get some more powder. press. There you go. I'm fine with where I've pressed it there. I'm gonna leave the powder puff now. Now what I'm gonna do is just very quickly while that's sitting there, I'm gonna get a brush, use a big one. This is my Hourglass Veil brush, dip into the powder, and then everywhere else, you are gonna press this in. Honestly, super quick, super easy. I always advise to buff, so press in rather than kind of like swipe across. Get your smaller brush, this is my Real Techniques, and then dust off the under eye. So what you're doing is you're not actually wasting time. While something is setting, you're doing something else. So now that the base is done, you can see it's nice and flawless, but also it doesn't look crazy bright in certain areas. And I could really do the rest of the face however I wanted to do it. Now, another reason that I have brushed the powder over the skin and not kind of set it, other than the fact that it's much quicker doing it this way, is that you can still go in with kind of cream products because we haven't actually applied a lot of powder on the rest of the face. I would definitely like not go with anything cream on this area because we really pressed it in. But with this kind of brush, you've literally just lightly buffed it on, which means that it's not fully matte, it's set, but you can very easily go in with like a cream or liquid product, which isn't like, not a lot of it though. So this is where we really want to sculpt the face a little bit, but you don't have time. So you're gonna use something that's really easy to use. So right now, I'm just gonna very quickly sculpt my face. So I'm using my Kosas Escape The Sun Show bronzer in Escape. This has got a very slight sheen to it. My BK Beauty N15 brush, we're just gonna go into this, and all we're doing is from the top of the ear. Don't worry about trying to sculpt or anything. I'm going to explain why. Just go along the perimeter. And what you're doing here is you're not focusing on trying to create cheekbones or anything, or trying to create that perfect look. By doing it just on the perimeter, what that means is you don't have to worry so much about, right, am I doing this in the right pace? Am I like, you know, where am I? Do I just go all over? Because that can end up making you look a bit muddy as well. What you're doing is focusing just on the outside of the face, which means that you're going to get more of that really nice kind of depth over the face. Your face isn't going to look so kind of flat. So all we're doing is just going along the edges, and the only place we go in a little bit is from the top of the ear, only up like about that much, right? And obviously again, first time you do this, it probably will take a little bit of time, but honestly, the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get. See how now we've got that really nice kind of 3D effect. Everything is looking like, it's just, there's more kind of like shape there. But at the same time, it doesn't look like I've carved out cheekbones. This is the part where a lot of people find it like hard and it takes a little bit of extra time. It is the eyebrows. Now, what I'm gonna suggest to you is really don't go for what you usually go for. We're gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Cheat in Natural Brown. This is the advice I'm gonna give you, and it's kind of helped for me, and it does take a bit of practice, but honestly you'll get so much better at it. Rather than get a mirror and hold it really close to you, you're going to use a mirror pretty far from, not too far, but you know, pretty far. So my mirror is probably just a bit more than arm's length. So it's not like I would really have to go close up, and I can't even reach that far. But the reason for this is because I've realized over time, when I have a mirror and I'm holding it like this, I am a lot more detailed, and I'm like looking at every imperfection. Like, okay, this is, oh, that's not right, that's not right. I've just realized, because I had my grays covered yesterday, and I was like, why is my hairline so dark? Like, I look like I have black hair. My hair is a lot lighter at the back, but it's because I just had my grays covered, and like it's still on my skin, I think. So it's created this really sharp hairline, which I'm not used to. But anyway, moving on. So when you do have it close up like this, you are really way more focused on any kind of like imperfections that you have. So I've learnt, don't have the mirror that close, because if you like what you're seeing like at arm's length, chances are they're actually fine. So, and trust me, you're way quicker at it this way as well, because you're not faced with all the kind of imperfections and flaws that you personally see. So I'm gonna use this pencil because I feel like this is actually one of my favorite brow pencils because the transfer is amazing and it stays put. So I'm gonna basically focus on the shape more than anything right now. And I'm not pressing too hard. I'm not actually gonna talk too much while I'm doing this because it actually slows me down. So I am very lightly skimming. Right, once you have actually shaped this, then I'm going to show you what you do. You'll be way quicker at doing it this far away. Or as like close as, you know, I wouldn't say any further than this, really. I wouldn't say like you can go arm's length, a little bit further than arm's length, but I would say arm's length is a good kind of position. If I was doing this close up right now, I can guarantee you I would be taking way longer. That brow, to be honest, looks okay to me. Like if I went out like this, I'd be happy with this, it's fine. Whereas if I hold this close up, see, even now it's actually okay close up. But if I was holding it this close up to begin with, I would find that that's like not right. Trust the process. Let's go to the other side because I'm going to show you how to finish this brow off. So again, we're just gonna focus on the shape. Okay, so I'm happy with them now, but obviously I'm not 100% happy, so I need to kind of just add something to really kind of conceal my quick job at it. So this is where you take your brow pen, the one that you create nice flicks with that replicate the hair strokes. Mine is the Lime Crime Bushy Brow Pen in Baby Brown. This is where you do go close up because you're not going to be able to do this from far off. I can tell you that now because I've tried. And this is where you're going to create the like hair replicas because you got the shape now, but now that it just needs a little bit of an adjustment so it doesn't look so drawn in. So this is where we're going to start from the beginning and we're just going to draw hairs all the way across and we're not focusing on shape because the shape's already there. So from the bottom, we're just gonna grow grow across, what the hell? Already that looks so much better. Even close up now, I feel like I'm happy with that brow. And that was super quick and it's just made me feel way more comfortable with that brow now so it doesn't look so drawn in. So same thing here. Okay, so next up, we want to focus on the eyes. Eyes are really easy, guys, honestly. And I could easily say to you that all you need is, you know, curling your lashes and put your mascara on and that's it. But I am aware that sometimes you guys want something else that is easy to do and quick to do. This is where I'm going to show you super, super quick eye look. So I'm going to take my Giorgio Armani Eye Tint Liquid Eyeshadow in 10S. So easy to do this, honestly. You are going to paint this over your lid. You can get whatever color you want, obviously. See that? I'm gonna get my finger and I am just gonna press and flick. And then as we get here, press and flick upwards and outwards. That's literally it. And I've got a really nice transparent eyeshadow kind of like look there. We're gonna go ahead and do this here. See how I've applied it there? Really quick and messy, doesn't matter. Then you're gonna press and flick. Your flick shouldn't be too exaggerated, by the way. So when I say press and flick, don't like, you know, it's a very small kind of movement there. And then if you do want to add something to it so that it adds some dimension there, you can go with a lighter color. I'm using 11S. And this is where you just, see that little dot there? Let me do this side first. Press in the middle. That's it. That's basically giving you a little bit of dimension to the whole look so it's not just a flat look again. Pat it in the middle. Now this is where you curl your lashes. So we're going to go ahead and curl them. I would highly suggest curling your lashes if you are going for a quick look. And I know you would think, you know what, ditch the eyelash curlers and just go straight with your mascara if you're trying to save time. But my whole aim here is to show you a quick way of doing it, but also something that's still gonna look good. At the end of the day, you might not have time to do your makeup, but you still want it to look like good later. And again, like I said, it's all about kind of like taking the parts that you kind of want to try. So I'm going to use my Tartelette XL tubing mascara. You want something which is going to give you quick results. This is a good one for that. I just feel like immediately before I even finish this sentence, like my mascara is kind of like done. So I feel like it's a good mascara for a quick result. And again, you can put it on the lower lashes if you want. Personally, I just like to apply the smallest amount You don't really need a lot on the lower lashes. Now, when it comes to your cheeks, it's up to you if you want to apply blush or not. Personally, I feel like if you are going to apply blush and you want something that's quick, always go for a powder. It's way quicker, no blending really required. And on top of that, the 2 tips I would give you: go for a powder, you don't have to blend as much. And secondly, go for a shade which isn't too bright and bold, because there's even less of a need to blend it. So I'm using my Refa 05 brush. We're gonna dip in. This is my NARS powder blush in Orgasm Edge. So this isn't like too bright and bold, as you can see, but this can give you a really nice, healthy look without having to like blend. So I've just applied it on the tops of my cheekbone, and I don't need to sit there and really blend it in. It's just giving me that nice kind of like glow to my skin. Now, when it comes to your lips, you want something quick and easy, right? But at the same time, you don't want to spend too much time. Okay, this is what I was gonna say, right? I was thinking too much at the same time. But basically, sometimes when you apply your lip liner, I've done this myself. When I'm in a rush, I'm applying it, and for some reason, it's such an easy thing to do, but I end up just getting it wrong, and like there's nothing I can do about it. And that means that you're just trying to use something so intricate, and you're trying to do something like get that perfect kind of line, make sure it's symmetrical. My personal advice is, if you're gonna go for a lip color, go for something which you can top up through the day as well. And I am really loving this at the moment. This is the Pat McGrath Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil. These are chunky lip pencils, and they have amazing pigment, and they're super, super soft and just glide on really easily. You can obviously line your lips with it, and it's just a chunky pencil, so you don't have to worry so much about kind of like getting that perfect line and filling it in, because this is all in one. So I'm going to use the shade Naked Seduction. This is like a mauve color. And I am just gonna really lightly do my lips roughly like that. Don't worry, I would not finish that way. It's a whole load of product there, right? You've done it, I've even done it far away from the mirror. Get your tissue, blot a couple of times, use your finger to just blend it in inwards. So you've taken away all of that obvious product, and you've given your like lips a nice flush of color as well. It's a really, really easy way to do it. I just feel like you're not using a lip liner as such, but you're using a color which gives you that flesh colored lip, but doesn't look like you've drawn in any lip liner. And it's just easy to do, honestly. So hopefully this has kind of shown you. As you can see, this is the finished look. Everything has been like a very quick way of doing it, but obviously when you add all of it together, and on top of that, me talking, which I love to kind of break everything down for you, then that's obviously going to take a little bit longer. So take out what you want from it, and maybe the whole thing works well for you, which is great. But honestly, these are just really easy ways to do every feature on your face. And I really, really do hope that it speeds it up for you. Now, don't forget that I do have an online publication called The Beauty Breakfast Club. We're growing an amazing community over there, which is focused on beauty, self-culture, health, everything like that. And it's really great to have you over there. It's growing rapidly. We do have 2 versions of subscription. One is free, which gives you access to most of the site. The other is paid, which only costs you the equivalent of coffee a month, and it gives you access to the whole site, including a chat room for me and you. Now, also, just to explain this, it isn't just a community, it is an online publication. So there are newsletters that go up on it. There are new articles up every other day, and it's covering everything about new products that are out, my thoughts on new products, tips and tricks that you can kind of work on, the best of concealers, foundations, all that kind of stuff. I really go into detail, and it's something that you can save. Do you see what I mean? You can really save it. It's not just having to watch back a video. So head on over, show your support. I'd love to see you over there and hear from you over there. I also have another YouTube channel which is focused on podcasts, which I host with my husband. It's all about relatable marriage stuff. You get to just learn a little bit more about me and my husband, obviously, and some vlogs on there too. So hopefully I've answered all of your questions when it comes to tips and tricks to speed up your makeup application process. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. Don't forget, everything is listed in my description with the links and discount codes in case you fancy a little bit of a cheeky discount off of products. Now, liking and subscribing on this channel really does help me with the algorithm, so I really do hope that you do like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. So until the next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.